Hello, it's Mr. Toups, and you're in the Always Believe room at George Ranch High School, and you're about to learn how to simplify and solve linear inequalities. Wow, it's gonna be fun. So let me open up the paper we're about to do. It's gonna be the best part of your day. Oh. So on this problem here, notice we have a number line and we have an inequality. Instead of an equal sign, there's an inequality in there. So we're going to learn how to solve inequalities today. And this will be a blast. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do, notice this is the way the software generated the paper. I wish they would have put the number line at the bottom. So we're going to do the first step, go down here and just keep working down, then we'll go back and graph it. So the first step on this problem is to distribute the 5, right? We want to get rid of the fractions. So our bluebell truck is the 5, and we're going to distribute that 5. So the 85 will drop. Instead of an equal, I have a greater than, and then 5 times 5, and remember, this goes away when you distribute, 25 plus 10p plus 5p. Okay, so the 5 and the 2 got multiplied by the bluebell truck of 5, didn't it? Now then, I'm going to combine my variables, right? So if I wanted to, I could single underline and double underline, right? So all of my variables are on the right. I think all the variables are on one side on this paper. So I'm going to group the 10 and 5. It's the same thing as solving an equation. So I'm going to get 85 greater than 25. Which p is more, 10 or 5? The 10's more. The positive drops. And I will not subtract, I will add. So 10 plus 5 is 15, and my letter's P. What did we just write down? Sign, number, letter. Get the sign, get the number, get the sign, get the number. Now then, since my letter is on the right, I need my number to go on the left. So I'm going to take the 25 and move it across, aren't I? So I'm going to subtract 25. 85 minus 25, excellent job, it's 60, greater than 15p. Normally I like having my letter on the left because it's a little bit easier to grab, but we're going to do it this way. To get the letter by itself, we'll divide by 15, and I'm going to get 4 greater than p. Okay, this is the number that's going to get put on the number line. So I'm going to put 4 as an open dot, and make sure you leave it open. Okay, so what color is going to show up here? Let's do red. So do y'all see how big this is right here? Let me do it a different color. Okay, so put an open dot over the 4. Now then, I want my p to be smaller than 4, don't I? I want my p to be smaller than 4, or 4 has to be greater than all of my answers. 4 has to be greater than all my answers. Or all of my answers have to be smaller than 4. So which way would you make your answers be smaller than 4? It would have to go to the left, wouldn't it? So for all my answers to be smaller than 4, I'm going to draw a number line to the left and put a big arrowhead right here. Now then, this inequality is backwards. Usually your letter is on the other side, so let's flip it around. So I'm going to write that as p less than 4. If your letter is on the left, what do you notice about this inequality and your arrow tip? It will be the same. So if your letter's on the left, this inequality tells you which way to draw your arrow. This number here will be where you put your dot. What if I had less than or equal to? I wouldn't leave the dot open, I would color it in. So you want to draw a big dot, and then you'll color it in or leave it open. And then you'll draw your arrow to the left or the right. Piece of cake. This is not that difficult. These equations are pretty simple to solve on this. So let's go to do number 5. On number 5, we're going to distribute the 6, or the negative 6 actually. Okay, so we're going to go through and multiply now. What's a negative times a positive? It's a negative, isn't it? 6 times 7 is 42. And what's my letter? It's N. What did I just write down? Sign, number, letter. Sign, number, letter. You keep doing that over and over. What's negative 6 times 4? Excellent. It's minus 24 plus 2n less than 216. Now then, I'm going to single underline and double underline. And I need to group these two letters together, don't I? So what do I have more of? 42s or 2s? I got more 42s, don't I? That negative will drop. Will I add or subtract these up? This is negative, this is positive. You would not say the same, you would say opposite, wouldn't you? Since these have opposite signs, I'm taking 2 away from 42, and I would get 40. And my letters in. What did I just write down? Sign, number, letter. Over and over. The minus 24 drops, less than 216. Now I'm going to take the 24 and move it across, just like you're solving an equation. So I'm going to add 24. I'm going to get negative 40n less than 240. And then we're going to divide by negative 40. And then this is a tricky part here. Whenever you divide by a negative, this inequality will flip. And I'm going to show you that why in a minute. So I'm going to write down n. If you divide by a negative, write the word flip. So if you divide by a negative, write the word flip. You're going to flip the inequality. So n is going to be greater than, and that's going to be negative 6. So I want all of my answers to be more than negative 6. All of my answers to be more than negative 6. So on the number line, I'm going to go over here and draw a big open dot on the negative 6. And I want all my answers to be more than negative 6. So more than negative 6 is to the right. Draw an arrow tip. And notice the arrow tip and the inequality is the same direction. Okay, the key on this one is if you divide by a negative, you gotta flip it, okay? It's just the way when you multiply by negatives, it flips the number around. What a blast. And I think we're gonna do one more. So we're gonna do number 11. Okay, so what are we gonna distribute? What's our bluebell truck? Excellent, the bluebell truck is the 7. So the 7 is gonna drive to these two stores in it. The 7 goes away because we're driving it. So the 3x drops. 7 times x is a positive 7x. 7 times 5 is a positive 35. Less than or equal to 105. Now then I'm going to single underline and double underline, right? This is basically all this worksheet is. I'm going to add these up, move it across, and divide, right? So 3x plus 7x is 10x. And then I'm going to go ahead and move the 35 over. Get it all done in one step. So I'm going to get 10x less than or equal to, and if I subtract these, it's going to be 70. Now then I'm going to divide by 10. Notice I did not divide by a negative, didn't I? Since I didn't divide by a negative, it won't flip. I'll get x less than or equal to 7. Now then on this one here, we have a less than or an equal, don't we? So this number tells us where to put our dot, and we're going to put a dot over the 7 and leave it open. Now then, look at the inequality. Is there an equal bar? Yes. So x can also be equal to 7, right? So fill in the 7. And it doesn't have to be that big, but about, I consider. And then fill it in. Now then, which way will my arrow go? I want all of my answers to be smaller than 7. So smaller than 7 is to the left in it. So you're going to draw over the number line and put a check. And notice your inequality is the same direction in it. Your inequality and your arrow tip will be the same thing if the letter's on the left. Wow, what a blast. Now then, these are the fun ones. Notice you're going to get a couple of these every worksheet on here so you can get better at them. Let's solve this one for A. These are the literary questions. Like I said, this is going to be the hardest part of this unit, but you can do this. We're going to do some every day. So you're going to circle the A. And now then, the first thing we want to do is add and subtract across, and then we're going to divide, okay? So you can't divide until you do the add and subtract. So we're going to take the B, maybe I got a different color here, and move it across, aren't we? What's going to happen to the negative B when we move it across? Excellent. The negative B will turn into a positive B, don't it? And put them in alphabetical order. Since B's in front of U alphabetically, I'm going to have a positive B plus U equals AK. Basically, you're taking the B and you're adding it across, right? But if you can figure out the sign switches, that's all you got to do. Now then, to get the A all by itself, what's the opposite of multiply? Excellent. Divide. And now then, this is the tricky part. Draw the whole thing like this. draw one fraction bar underneath this whole expression. These k's cancel out. This right here is the answer. B plus U over K equals A. You have never got math answers that look like this, so until it becomes routine, it's going to be kind of tough, but just hang in there, okay? This is an example of an answer you would get. And lastly, one more. Let's do number 17. This one won't be hard because we're just solving for x. So circle your x. The only thing I got to get rid of is the m in it. What's the opposite of x times m? Excellent, it's divide. So I'm going to draw two fraction bars, and I'm going to put m on the bottom, right? These m's will cancel out. All that's left is x, and it's going to be p plus n all over m. This is your answer. Okay, you'll get this. Remember, always believe, and most importantly, you are awesome. Ho, ho, ho.